A Utah nurse has been charged with allegedly unaliving her friend who was convinced that she had cancer. And the reason why the nurse did all this was because she thought she was going to receive a big payday. Let's dive into today's story as we try to figure out why this nurse would do something like this. To switch it up a little bit, I'm going to add a little bit of forensic victimology with it.
All right, let's roll, nerds.
So our story takes place back in August 12th of 2024 when police received a phone call to report to a home over in Highland, Utah. A man named Mark Farnsworth had called 911 to report that he had found his niece unresponsive and struggling to breathe as if she was drowning. He also added that his niece also had major health problems. That woman's name was 38 years old, Kacee Terry. So police and paramedics would get to the resident, go into the bedroom that she was supposed to be at, and when they got there, that's where they found 47-year-old Megan Sunwald. Megan would tell the police and paramedics that Kacee had been in this condition for the past several hours. When paramedics asked Megan what took her so long to call 911, she would tell them that the reason why it took her so long was because Kacee had terminal cancer for the past 4 or 5 years, and that she signed a DNR or a do not resuscitate and did not want to go to the hospital. Paramedics would go ahead and prep Kacee for transport, and upon moving her body, that's when they found an insulin needle. Paramedics would go ahead and transport Kacee over to the Mountain Point Hospital, and that's when they found that her blood sugar level was at a 14, which is extremely low because anything below 40 is life-threatening. Paramedics would go ahead and recall that they found insulin at the residence. But they come to find out that Kacee was never a diabetic. They felt that Kacee had intentionally took insulin because insulin lowers the blood sugar. While at the hospital, Kacee was declared brain dead, and 3 days later, she passed away. Kacee's sister would tell the doctors at the hospital that Kacee had terminal cancer. But however, when they got in contact with Kacee's primary doctor, he had told them that Kacee never had cancer. It was later confirmed during an autopsy that Kacee never had cancer and never had any medical issues. Another thing they found weird was that they could not find a DNR in Kacee's name anywhere. Now, in order for you to have a DNR or a do not resuscitate order, you have to request one from a physician. Once the request is made, the physician has to go through every line item on that form so that way you understand what you're asking for. Once everything is explained and you understand what is being said to you, the physician will go ahead and sign and date it. In some cases, they may even have a second physician come in and sign. Once a physician signs, that's when you sign as well. The only time a patient can have a representative sign for them is only if they're incapacitated and they already made a statement saying they want to be put on a DNR. As a safe precaution, you may need 2 competent adult witnesses to sign, or you can have a notary sign. Here's the thing with a DNR. A DNR takes effect the second you sign. The order applies to wherever you may be at, whether it's at home, out and about, at a doctor's office, or whatever. As long as that is in your record, no doctor, nurse, or even the paramedic can resuscitate you. A DNR has to be in your record. Otherwise, it's going to be like this guy who tried to sue a paramedic for saving his life. Even though he said he had DNR, but the only thing he had was DNR tattooed on his body. And having DNR tattooed on your body does not count as a legal document.
Even if you had do not resuscitate written on your chest, on a tattoo, that still does not grant the authority of this gentleman reneging on his responsibility as an EMT. If you want to do not resuscitate to be honored, you have to go to court for that. There has to be a court order. There has to be a form that says that here, if something happens to this gentleman medically, and in your case where you were unconscious and flatlining, here's the order, do not resuscitate. That has to be given by the court. It can't be given by your local tattoo artist.
Kacee's family already suspected that Megan had something to do with Kacee's death. Well, they believe that Megan had been planning out her death for years. Now, this suspicion will come true once detectives have found Kacee's phone and had located over 28,000 text messages between Kacee and Megan going back to December of 2019. In their text messages, somehow Megan had convinced Kacee that she had cancer. And so most of the messages afterwards was all about Megan trying to convince Kacee to take herself off the census. And over the course of 4 years, Megan would tell Kacee that she would help her if she ever wants to end it all. Megan would even state that Kacee's death would solve all her money issues. The reason why Megan said all this was because she believed that she was on Kacee's life insurance policy for $1.5 million. Megan would even search for this insurance policy after Kacee's death. There's a slight possibility that there was never an insurance policy. The reason why Megan would do all this is because she is what you consider a manipulator. Criminal manipulators try to bend and twist people to their will in order for them to get them to do something that they want them to do. Now with Kacee, the reason why she became a victim is due to her personal traits of passivity. Now what passivity is a passive individual who allows or accepts the choices or actions of others without questions or defiance. Now, people who tend to be passive tend to be excellent targets for those who are manipulators. Megan was arrested and is currently being charged with first-degree felony aggravated murder and third-degree felony obstruction of justice. Now, the reason why she's being charged with third-degree felony obstruction of justice is because she tried to delete over 900 text messages from her phone. She is currently being held at the Utah County Jail without bond. It is unclear if she has any legal representation. Otherwise, she may just get a public defender for her case. So what do you think? Do you feel that Megan had killed her friend? Or do you feel that Kacee may have took her own life? Go ahead and put your comments down below. And if you like more forensic analysis of cases like this, go ahead and stay tuned for more videos that may come. With that, be careful with who you trust.